What is up? What is up, YouTube? Dude, let y'all know right now. Explosive lawsuit claims Shannon Sharpe ordered woman he met in the gym. He ordered a woman that he met in the gym. Look here, man. Look here, guys. Let me tell y'all something, man. Tisa Tales is live talking about this right now. Oh, man. You know, this is long crime, man. Hey, I was going to bed because it is 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been doing reactions all night, catching up. I'm trying to catch up, y'all. I'm in the Philippines, y'all. I'm in the Philippines. Shout out to Uncle Mike that's in the Philippines. Become a patron, help support the channel. They seeing all the stuff I'm doing in the Philippines. The surprise witness is live as we speak also on this stuff. So I'm gonna jump in on both of them at the end of this right here. 24 minutes. What? The shocking Shannon Sharpe lawsuit keeps getting weirder. Man, y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Let's get into this bad boy, man. Thank y'all for supporting the channel, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. It's easy, just hit the button. Let our haters know we're growing. We're doing some things. We're doing some big things, man. Let's check this bad boy out, man. Watch this, y'all.
A Texas attorney who targeted Sean Diddy Combs with dozens of civil lawsuits on behalf of John and Jane Does allegedly victimized by the music mogul has a new target in his sights. NFL legend Shannon Sharpe. A brand new lawsuit was just filed in Nevada claiming Sharpe was manipulative and abusive and eventually sexually assaulted a Jane Doe, with the latest claims allegedly happening as recently as January. We got our hands on the filing and we're going to break down everything you need to know. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Tony Busby's back. The lawyer who went after Sean Combs, Jay-Z, we'll talk about that. Well, he is still swinging at high-profile men that he claims are abusers. This time he's calling out Shannon Sharpe, the 56-year-old NFL superstar turned podcaster and commentator. Brand new lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe. We got a copy of
56 years old, man. I thought I was going to bed young. I'm down here in the Philippines because of my birthday. I'm going to turn 59. And they called me up. I swear to God, y'all, I have never ever put my hands or touched somebody inappropriately. Never ever wanted to make anybody feel uncomfortable. If you uncomfortable, you need to let me know, because I'm going to fix it for you. Not that you uncomfortable because of me. I'm trying to help people in this world, man. I'm not trying to. Why is there so many people? Damn, Shannon. There is no. With the type of money you got, it should be no doubt. Aren't you married or something? I don't know nothing. I don't know that much about him. I just know he interviewed Cat Williams. That's all I know. I don't know. I knew he played football because I figured that out because of, he got some liquor.
Of it right here. It was filed out in Nevada. We're going to go over it.
Here we go,
superstar turned podcaster and commentator. Brand new lawsuit filed against Shannon Sharpe. We got a copy of it right here. It was filed out in Nevada. We're going to go over it. But Shannon Sharpe, in case you don't know who he is, he played 14 seasons in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens. He was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2011. After he retired, he spent time as a sports commentator and analyst. You might remember that he co-hosted Skip and Shannon Undisputed with Skip Bayless from 2016 to 2023. Bayless and his then employer, by the way, Fox Sports, they faced their own accusations of sexual misconduct in a separate filing from earlier this year. We covered it here on Sidebar as well.
Damn.
Now, Sharpe is part of the sports podcast space. He hosts two shows, Club Shay Shay and Nightcap. In fact, you remember his interview with comedian Cat Williams in January 2024 on Club Shay Shay? That helped spark, I should say, a renewed interest in Sean Diddy Combs and his alleged bad behavior at his infamous parties. Got a lot of people talking.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. just to protect my integrity and that I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did.
But now it's Shannon Sharpe who's in the spotlight for his own accusations of abuse. Because on Monday morning, Texas attorney Tony Busby announced on his Instagram that he'd filed a $50 million lawsuit in Nevada court against Sharpe. On Instagram, he wrote in part, "I'm extremely proud to represent Jane Doe. It takes a great deal of courage to stand up against those with power, fame, and money. I look forward to pressing this case in court." So we're going to go over this, but I want to first bring in John Clune, civil attorney who litigates on behalf of survivors of sexual abuse and sexual assault. John, so good to have you. And again, this is kind of breaking news. I didn't have an opportunity to fully go through this lawsuit, so you and I are going to break this down in basically real time. When we saw this early this morning, it was a shock to us. What was your initial reaction?
My initial reaction was the timing of it, to be honest. Before I read the lawsuit, just the timing of it for it to be filed, on Easter Sunday, that struck me as an unusual move. But then as I went through the lawsuit, the allegations are pretty disturbing. We don't know if they're true or not, but what's written in the complaint is pretty terrible stuff.
John, I have to say, to go after Shannon Sharpe, if you're Tony Busby, after what just happened with Jay-Z. Remember, he filed that lawsuit on behalf of a Jane Doe, a woman who claimed that she was 13 years old back in 2000 and was sexually assaulted by Jay-Z. That lawsuit was dropped, and it came after serious questions of her story and credibility surfaced, both by reporting by NBC News and evidence that was presented by Jay-Z's side. Jay-Z ended up suing this woman, suing Tony Busby as well. So now to go after Shannon Sharpe, another high-profile figure, does that tell you that he feels he has the evidence in this case?
Well, Mr. Busby is a pretty bold mover in this space. I mean, he seems to not be, shy about his decision making. So it could mean that he's got the goods in this particular case, or it could just be, kind of par for the course, and this is how he, handles his high-profile cases. But
and me and I know, you can't just file a frivolous lawsuit. You can't file a lawsuit to harass somebody. You have to believe the law, the facts. There's, there has to be some semblance of facts that you put forward in a complaint that pass an motion to dismiss test. So he has to feel that he might not have all the evidence right now, but he has to feel confident in Jane Doe's account, right? Otherwise, he'd be breaking ethics rules.
Yeah, and the thing with these accounts, like in a sexual assault, just a Jane Doe against an individual, is it's really hard to get rid of that case on a motion to dismiss, or even down the road on a motion for summary judgment. Because if you have your client who's saying, "This is what happened to me," and then in this case, say Mr. Sharpe says, "No, that's not what happened. It was very different." That's really a trial issue. That's not something a judge is really going to dismiss on motion. So other types of cases that have more subtle elements to them maybe can get dismissed on motion, but this kind of thing is really hard for a defendant to get rid of short of trial.
By the way, our content shows just how rampant crime is right now, and that is especially true with cybercrime. Cybercrime growing more dangerous and widespread. It threatens business. Know their partner, big or too on screen, under a Jane Doe, a pseudonym, work health assessment, and 50% off your first month. By the way, before we get into the context of the suit, Jane Doe, so filing under a Jane Doe, a pseudonym, typically speaking, how likely is it that she will be able to continue moving forward in this litigation anonymously? I know in the Sean Combs case, several courts have said that the Jane Does and possibly even the John Does have had to come forward and reveal their identities. Talk to me about what the interests, the different factors the court will look at, and whether or not Jane Doe would be able to proceed anonymously.
Yeah, I'd say at best it's 50-50 that she's able to proceed in that fashion. I mean, generally speaking, there's a strong preference in the courts for transparency and open proceedings. That includes using your real name in the lawsuit. If you can convince a court that there's a public interest in keeping her name from the public, which can be something like safety issues, it can be the shame of the situation, if it's the age of the person, quite often if they're underage, you're much more likely to be able to keep the pseudonym. But in this kind of a case where it's one adult against another, unless there's any particular safety harms, it's not an easy thing to be able to convince a judge to keep it as a Jane Doe.
Yeah, and I've seen the argument put forward by the judge. Basically, if you are choosing to file a lawsuit and you are putting this celebrity in the spotlight, the defendant has a right to defend himself, to investigate your claims, to investigate you. You're the one who chose to file the lawsuit and put your credibility at issue, so you should have to be able to proceed with your name and your identity being exposed. But again, there are certain factors to consider. And by the way, when we talk about Tony Busby, let's not forget, he filed numerous lawsuits on behalf of others against Sean Combs. That's how his name has really come up in the news in the past several years, right? He held that press conference where he said that he was representing so many, dozens and dozens of accusers against Sean Combs. So now I want to dig into what this lawsuit has to say. So Tony Busby, let me just say this, known for his flamboyant speech in his civil filings. And in this one doesn't appear to be any exception, because it begins, a woman can say yes to consensual sexual relations with a man 99 times, but when she says no, even once, that no means no. Defendant Shannon Sharpe, a man who's accustomed to getting what he wants, completely fails to understand this basic concept. After many months of manipulating and controlling plaintiff, a woman more than 30 years younger than he, and repeatedly threatening to brutally choke and violently slap her, Sharpe refused to accept the answer no and raped plaintiff, despite her sobbing and repeated screams of no. According to the complaint, Jane Doe worked out at this same gym as Shannon Sharpe in Los Angeles, and she was 19 at the time. This is what she claims. And she claims that he had been watching her during her workouts and finally introduced himself, insisting that she give him her number. And the filing says that Jane Doe found Sharpe, quote, physically intimidating. The lawsuit reads, over the next couple of weeks, Sharpe incessantly pursued plaintiff. He constantly approached her at the gym and attempted to contact her frequently with phone calls and text messages asking to meet up, unwilling to take no for an answer. Eventually, plaintiff gave in and agreed to meet with Sharpe outside of the gym. However, before doing so, Sharpe demanded that Doe sign a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, something plaintiff found a bit concerning. She wondered why Sharpe was so insistent on her signing an NDA. She refused. Despite his repeated efforts to get her to sign, she refused time and again. Eventually, he dropped the issue and invited her to his house. Now, the lawsuit claims that this relationship between Sharpe and Jane Doe, again more than 30 years his junior, was consensual, but it was rocky. She said he'd insisted they were exclusive, but then was caught multiple times lying about his whereabouts and who he was seeing. According to the filing, quote, by October 2024, Sharpe's behavior had grown progressively worse, beyond anything plaintiff had experienced with him before. At this point, he was insistent upon recording their sexual activities, sometimes without her knowledge. Sharpe was also sharing the videos with others without her permission or knowledge. Sharpe would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do to her things that would make no other man want her. Damn. At this point, Sharpe was no longer able to credibly maintain the relationship was exclusive. He had at this point accidentally or purposely, to advance his career, went live on Instagram while having sex with another woman. Sharpe flew into fits of anger when plaintiff noted his infidelity to the relationship or called him out about his extraneous activities. What had once become manipulation, control, and intimidation now became something far more dangerous and sinister. Sharpe even figured out how to get into Doe's apartment complex without her permission. Sharpe made it clear that what Doe wanted was of no moment, that Sharpe would get what he wanted when he wanted it. In October 2024, Shannon Sharpe violently sexually assaulted and anally raped plaintiff 2 different times in Las Vegas, Nevada, blatantly ignoring her request for him to stop. He did it again in January. Now, before I get into what the claims for relief are here, first, John, your thoughts on that narrative put forward by Jane Doe.
Yeah, I mean, it's deliberately graphic narrative. There's nothing inherently wrong with going into that level of detail in these types of cases to kind of get the court's attention on how serious this is. But it's probably on the more graphic side of the scale in terms of these types of pleadings.
Damn, Shannon.
If there are recordings, how would she be able to get access to them, and how could that help her case?
Well, when she gets into civil discovery, she can demand copies of those. Whether they exist or ever existed, we don't know. But if they do exist, he'll be required to produce those. I mean, those.
Man, after this, you was sitting right there when the man was talking. Cat Williams. Cat Williams said to you that he had to turn down $5 million, $50 million 5 times to protect that version. You should know better. Boy, as much money you got, you know these people gonna yell the R word so fast, trying to get you in a lawsuit, but nah, you thinking with the wrong head. All this reasoning goes out of the window, see, with a lot of men. And they think that you can't use reasoning, man. I feel sorry for people that your sex drive stop you from determining right from wrong. How can your sex drive make you skip right from wrong? Your drive, my drive to be successful, skips over all that type of stuff. Look at my boo-boo, she tired. She look like she asleep. I'm going to bed. Anyway, let's keep going.
And those could be significant. I mean, if you have videotapes of either non-consensual behavior or behavior that, regardless of how it appears, looks like there's surreptitious recordings of somebody. I mean, that's definitely something that would look really bad for any defendant.
Is it problematic for her that they were in a relationship? You know, he talks about in the beginning of the lawsuit, a woman could say yes 99 times. If she says no once and you continue on, that's sexual assault, that's rape. Do you believe that them being in a consensual relationship for a long period of time or a period of time, do you believe that, according to her claims, even after being asked to sign an NDA, she nonetheless engaged in a relationship with him? Do you think that hurts her credibility?
I don't think it hurts her credibility. I think it's something that a defendant can use to their advantage to show the number of times that there was consensual sexual behavior as a suggestion that maybe these instances are being manipulated for the purpose of financial gain. So it's not quite as bright line as if though there had been never any sexual contact between the two of them. But, maybe if this was 25 years ago, it'd be more of a problem. I think these days jurors have an understanding that people in intimate relationships can also be victims of sexual violence. So I wouldn't call it a big problem, but it's something that could be manipulated.
I'm just reading this January 2025 alleged sexual assault. It's pretty disgusting. I mean, she basically says that she was begging for him to stop. He became more aggressive. He wouldn't wear protection, and that this sexual assault lasted roughly 10 minutes. I'm not going to get into the details of it. How does she prove that? Is it just her testimony? Is it that if she told anybody, let's say she didn't tell anybody, didn't tell authorities, is it just her testimony against his? I mean, will that be the key of it, her taking the stand and explaining this happened to her?
That's going to be the center of it for the both of them. They both have the ability to describe what did or didn't happen, and it's going to be believability. Like you said, if she did tell somebody, that's helpful. If she sought any sort of medical treatment, that's also helpful. But it's also possible that neither of those things happen. It just becomes one person's word against another.
So she is suing for assault, sexual assault, battery, sexual battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. I imagine
battery.
There's probably no statute of limitations issue since this is alleged to have occurred in 2023. Are these relatively broad causes of action, specific causes of action? Are they particularized in any way? Talk to me about what you believe about these causes of action that she's suing under.
I mean, that matches the facts of what she's alleged. I think they're relatively specific to the information that's in the complaint. So, that's the kind of collection of claims I would expect any attorney to bring, given those facts that they laid out in the complaint.
And the defense would be that either this didn't happen or it was consensual, right?
Right. That's pretty much the two options. Most of the time these days, because of things like, DNA or other ways to corroborate some sort of sexual activity, consent becomes the number one defense. So that's what we see most of the time.
Remember when I said this was a $50 million lawsuit? So I want to read you what she's suing for. General damages in the sum of excess of $10 million. Special damages in the sum of excess $10 million. Punitive damages, $20 million. Statutory penalties, $10 million. How do that feels like a lot of money. I mean, now that you also wonder, how do you put a price on if this really did happen? How do you put a price on sexual assault? But at the same time, $50 million.
Did he just say that sound like a lot of money? I'll call y'all back on that one. I'll call you back. I just call you back on that one.
For general, special, punitive, statutory penalties. Talk to us about what those mean and whether or not those would be appropriate in a situation like this.
Yeah, so the general damages are going to be her emotional distress damages. So what's the general impact to her now and kind of for the years to come as a result of going through this? If this happened, and I want to underscore, we don't know if this happened, but if this happened, $10 million does not seem to me like an excessive amount of emotional distress damages. I mean, this is something that would stay with somebody for the rest of their life and be a significant struggle at various points in their life. The special damages are going to be economic losses. Those can be harder to establish. I mean, you'd have to use an economist to try to talk about how this is going to impact somebody's future career and their therapy, psychiatry, that sort of thing. It might be difficult to get up to $10 million for the special damages. The punitive damages, $20 million, those are damages that are just designed to punish somebody for their conduct. And again, if what has been outlined in the complaint is accurate, I could see a jury awarding that sum. We talked about a case the other day where it was $1.7 billion that was awarded for against one individual. That was for 40 women, but still was about $42 million per plaintiff. So the punitive damage figure is high. I mean, these are all really high numbers, but they're not. I don't think they're inappropriate in terms of what they have in the complaint. I'm not sure what the statutory penalties are, what they're referring to. That's probably something that's specific to Nevada law. Interesting.
Well, actually, talking about other lawsuits, by the way, in this filing, in Busby's filing, it also mentions a lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe out of New York. This one was filed by a woman named Michelle Evans, who's representing herself. She filed her complaint in New York State Court in December 2023. The case is still ongoing. She's suing for defamation, libel, slander of a woman, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress, seeking at least $14 million in damages. And Evans makes many of the same claims against Sharpe that Jane Doe does, including that she tried to distance herself from him after learning he was having sexual relations with other women, but that he became enraged and attacked her. In fact, her lawsuit contains an alleged quote from Shannon Sharpe that matches, I will say, almost word for word, a line in Jane Doe's complaint. So Evans' lawsuit says that Sharpe told her during a sexual assault that, quote, "You would make it so no other man would want me." Again, you just heard that. Jane Doe's lawsuit reads, Sharpe would repeatedly tell Doe that he wanted to do to her things that would make no other man want her. And Evans' complaint also states Michelle Evans was subjected to non-consensual sexual encounters, which in itself is a deeply traumatic experience that has resulted in long-term psychological harm, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, severe anxiety, and depression. The trauma is exacerbated by the public defamatory statements made by Shannon Sharpe, which have led to public humiliation, loss of dignity, and a sense of betrayal. And she even provided a chart showing how Sharpe's alleged actions impacted her. According to a sworn affidavit from Sharpe, he denies the allegations that Michelle Evans has laid against him, says,
the chart, hey, I'm just going to be honest with you. The chart let you know that you's a dummy, Shannon Sharpe. You's an idiot. Hold up. You mean to tell me you are somebody and they went along with this whole thing, right? Dummy. You seen the girl at the gym, started dating her, and y'all supposed to have open or whatever Long story short, now she's suing you. She wanted your money, dummy. She wanted your money from the jump, dummy. Girl, if I was you, I'd go after him. He ugly though. Whatever she said. I'm not saying that he ugly. I'm just saying that's probably, well, this messed with him a little bit. And he probably went buck wild. He went all the way down trying to make her my slave. So what happened? See, what had happened was she know he got money. So I'm gonna play this one all the way out. Man, y'all gotta be crazy. Y'all gotta be crazy. If I had all that money and I was really, really liking that person, first of all, if you really, really like somebody, you would want to please them. You would want to please them, not hurt them. So if you was hurting her in any kind of way, you'd have like, ma'am, I apologize. I'm sorry. How can I make it up to you? And shut up and listen.
As it was actually Evans who was manipulative and threatening, says that she was harassing him via text messages and phone calls. So it makes me wonder, since at the time of this recording, John, we're still like, this is breaking news. We haven't seen a response yet from Shannon Sharpe. Could come out later after we air this. What do you imagine you're going to hear from him or his side?
Well, first of all, I think that they're going to be careful about saying too much right now. They're going to probably strongly deny the allegations and look forward to their day in court and maybe some other strong language. But I expect it to be somewhat generalized and not responding to some of the individual facts of the case. In regards to that other lawsuit, what they're probably going to say is, well, sure, it lines up. Mr. Busby had the opportunity to read this lawsuit before drafting his own, so that's the reason why they match up. So I would expect down the road we may hear something like that from the Sharpe camp.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, there's two ways of looking at it. You could say someone could say I accept that both of these accounts are legitimate. Obviously, they would say Shannon Sharpe has a pattern here. He says the same things. He does the same things. Or alternatively, this Jane Doe read that lawsuit and said, "Oh, she claimed that. I'll claim that." It's you piggyback off of it. Do you think that this is a case that would be advantageous for him to settle? I mean, obviously, we do not know what happened, right? He could say none of this is true. I want to fight. I want to clear my name. Go through litigation. Expensive. There's an emotional toll. There's a lot of different factors. But if you settle it, what message does that send?
Yeah, it's a tough situation because you don't want to settle it. You don't really want to go to trial on it either. I mean, going to trial in a year and a half and having all of this testimony come out, if it's consistent with what's in this complaint, if somebody feels like they've been wrongfully accused, they want to vindicate themselves, they want to prove their innocence in court. But from a PR standpoint, for somebody who's high profile like Mr. Sharpe, going to trial is going to be a difficult proposition for him. But what's the message of settling it? Maybe after things have calmed down, there might be a space to settle it and say, look, this was a business decision. I still don't believe anything what she's saying, but it was worth it to me to be able to move on with my life. And, and that's the messaging that you can have once the initial media calms down. But whether or not it's something he wants to do or not, we'll have to see.
Could this potentially result in criminal charges?
If she's willing to report criminally, I don't know if she has or if she hasn't, but if she's willing to report, it certainly seems like it'd be within any statute of limitations, which is pretty lengthy to start with. But I don't expect the Clark County authorities to just pick it up and run with it on their own. They're going to need to know that she's reporting and she's willing to go through with a case.
John Clune, thank you so much for coming on. Real time, breaking this down with us real fast. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, Jesse. Thanks.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
I'm done, son. I'm done. First, the Fat Boys break up. Now, Shannon Sharpe is, I said I was going to do a double, right? Shannon Sharpe is actually being accused of some stuff, man. God dang it. That's an hour. Just say live. Somebody was live. I said we're gonna do a little bit of this. I'm gonna peep some of this stuff, man. 15 minutes. Keeps getting weird.
Involving some news that broke yesterday involving shit.
I do not like this dude. Stay in sports, dude. Well, Shannon Sharpe in sports, okay. Both of you. Shannon, get out the Bay Area and stay in sports. You too.
Shannon Sharpe, my colleague at ESPN, and my friend.
If Shannon Sharpe had simply listened to his friend Monique, he probably wouldn't be in this mess.
You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. I do. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old.
Oh my God, dog. I said ain't show. So that means Monique knew. He like younger girls. Monique knew. It must have been something else going down. Because he said, I do. He being real. That's what he like. He like, watch this, y'all.
Sharpe, my
Watch
colleague
this.
at
What?
ESPN.
This is getting
And my
juicy,
friend.
cuz.
If Shannon Sharpe had simply listened to his friend Monique, he probably wouldn't be in this mess.
You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. I do. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old.
That's what I did. That's what I did, y'all. I said, you know what? She bad too. She is pretty as all. She get on my nerves though, honey. Honey, you get on my nerve. But I love her to death. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't gonna be like this. No. That's a fantasy, man. Keep it as a fantasy. Dude. Keep that fantasy. Keep it as a fantasy and just act like you chasing it or something. I don't know what to tell you. But he said, I do. I need a 30-year-old. Nigga, you old and wrinkled. Uncle Mike feel the same way you do, man. I'm 59. And I think you look old compared to me. My fiance is 52, dog. I'm done, son. I thought I was the baddest sex drive type person. Come find out, my sex drive ain't as strong as these people, man. That's crazy.
Are we living in a simulation? Because the foreshadowing, it's a little insane.
Reports that somebody that he met in 2023, who was 19 years old at that particular moment in time.
You trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down.
I knew information about this Shannon Sharpe lawsuit would keep rolling out, and I wanted to make sure I could grasp the situation before making a video. And I was right, more info did come out since Monday, but I do not have a better understanding of this situation. I know picking a side and jumping to conclusions is what we do, but I advise for both parties involved to just wait before you fully form an opinion, because this isn't even close to being done. Last week, it was reported that Shannon Sharpe's contract with Colin Cowherd's podcast/YouTube network was up, and that Sharpe, who built massive audiences with his YouTube channels Club Shay Shay and Nightcap, could ink a $100+ million deal. Everything seemed to be going perfectly for Shannon Sharpe in his trajectory of his career. But then that pesky lawyer, Tony Busby, who represented the 20+ women who accused Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct, came out of the woodworks and filed a massive $50 million lawsuit against Sharpe with very serious allegations.
Alleges that Sharpe committed assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery.
TMZ released weird, if not disturbing, audio clips of Sharpe. There's an alleged sex tape of the non-consensual encounter that Sharpe's team insists has been edited during the NFL.
Wait a minute, y'all. We gonna be up like, remember the Titans. We're gonna be here all night, fellas. We're gonna be here all night. We gotta get to the bottom of this stuff. What? Shannon, what? You had front row tickets. God, yeah, I'm drunk now. Shannon, you had front row tickets. You had front row tickets. Shannon had front row tickets to Cat Williams. I'm just letting you know 2025. Did he say 2024? All lies will be exposed. I didn't know Shannon Sharpe was part of the lies that's going to be exposed. What? Did you hear what this man is saying? Did you hear what Monique said? Shannon, you can't get these 19-year-olds. They was warning you back then and you took it as a joke. You can't be in your 50s and have sex with a 19. It's teen. The word teen should not be in your sexual if you pass 50. You could be 50 in 2 seconds. 50 years old in 2 seconds. You cannot. You can't. Teen. 50 and teen. Them two things should not go together when it comes down to the S word. Male, female, 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 male, male. I don't care what it is. Dog, animal. You shouldn't even have a puppy that's 19 years old. What is wrong with y'all? I must be the only one that's sane. Listen to what my man's saying, man. Check this out.
Clips of Sharpe. There's an alleged sex tape of the non-consensual encounter that Sharpe's team insists has been edited. During the NFL season, Sharpe accidentally live-streamed the audio of himself having sex. We all remember that. Today, I'll break down the details of this lawsuit and try and ask some of the bigger questions about this situation and what it means for Shannon Sharpe. Shit. It's another episode of Law and Order Sports, isn't it? One I don't really want to do, to be honest. Let me start with this. I like Shannon Sharpe. I've always rooted for Shannon Sharpe. He played a high level of football on my favorite football team, the Broncos. His entire career has been something I've admired because he's so good at what he does when he's on TV or YouTube. So when you root for somebody like that, it becomes hard for you to objectively look at a situation like this because you want that person to be innocent, to be cleared of what they're being accused of. And there's a chance that's true and that happens.
Really?
But I will say, this one, not easy for me to do, and it sucks. That said, I think the person who did the best job articulating and discussing the severity of these accusations in terms of what it means for Shannon Sharpe, for the Accuser, for ESPN, and I think how many of us feel is actually Stephen A. Smith.
Even though I got love and respect for Shannon Sharpe, and I'm sincerely hopeful and prayerful that he is completely innocent of the allegations that have been levied against him, I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt from a knowledgeable place because I have nothing to do with this. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person. I know what the reports say. I know the...
Nigga, come on. This wild. Let's face some facts, y'all. The fact of the matter is this. I don't give a F. I don't care. No means no. Yes means yes. You do not sexually... I'm trying to make sure I don't say the wrong words, but fuck it. You don't sexually treat a woman. She 19 for one thing. For crying out loud, she not even your age. That's where you went wrong at. I can't even make sense of this, man. I remember I was dating somebody and the lady, she asked me, she said, "Are you scared to touch me?" Fucking yes, I'm scared to touch you. Yes, I'm scared to touch you. Because you ain't giving me the signals that it's okay. I don't want to do nothing against your will. I don't. My bad. Must be the Christ in me, man. You sitting over here First of all, you wrong for going after a 19-year-old. You wrong at your age for going after a 20-year-old, 25-year-old. I got a play sister in the Philippines that's 25 years old that I don't speak to no more because of this mess. You got it twisted. I don't have time to sit here and coach and preach to people right and wrong. You're supposed to already know. I got another. I got people, man, that's pissing me off.
The reports, the things that have been reported on a multitude of outlets, from the AP to the New York Post to Forbes to TMZ and everything in between. I mean, I can't even count the number of publications that have talked about it or written about it, networks, etc. It's all over the internet.
My bad.
It's everywhere.
The only thing I'm certain about in this case is that the relationship between Shannon Sharpe and this woman, Gabriela Zuniga, is strange. TMZ released multiple audio clips of Shannon Sharpe saying he would choke her. There are clips from conversations where we're left wondering what the context of the conversation is, but the complaint states that Shannon Sharpe and the woman identified in the lawsuit as Jane Doe met at a gym and began what was called a rocky but consensual sexual relationship at the beginning. The lawsuit then claims that Sharpe was recording their sexual encounters without Jane Doe's knowledge or consent. I think we all remember the Instagram live stream incident in which Sharpe was having sex, and we all heard the audio live from his Insta account, and that incident is unrelated to this one. That was with a different woman, and in reference to that Insta live stream, Sharpe claimed he was hacked initially, then later apologized on his nightcap and said he made a mistake, hit his phone or whatever. So here's the big crux.
Right. I can agree with that because I went live on my YouTube channel. I mean, I'm just laying in bed looking at a movie. And what kind of movies I was looking at, who knows? Nah, but really, I was just laying in bed looking at a movie. You know you live? And I'm like, God dang, did y'all see something? I think they might have saw me in my underwear, but it ain't like I was jerking off. I wasn't jerking off, okay? You can ask everybody that's seen the live. The live came on and you can see me walking in my underwear. And I wasn't hard, okay? God dang. We got to go all the way there? Yeah, we got to go all the way there. My bad. Wasn't jerking off. Not at that time I wasn't jerking off. Hello? I ain't saying I don't jerk off. Anyway, man. Maybe we should cut that out. That's a little too. This need to go on a stream channel. It's going to be the
crux of the lawsuit. In October 2024, Jane Doe claims she cut off all communication with Sharpe, but says he pursued her relentlessly, which eventually culminated in 2 instances of violent sexual assault in Las Vegas. According to the suit, there was also a 3rd incident in January 2025 that involved unprotected sex that carried on despite her pleas for him to stop. Now, I mentioned the woman was identified as Jane Doe in the lawsuit. Her identity was revealed when Sharpe released information about this situation. That's when we learned her name, and his side revealed she was an Instagram and OnlyFans model. I think we should note that this is a civil lawsuit and not a criminal charge, which means they are seeking financial damages. The woman's seeking $50 million in damages regarding sexual assault, battery, and emotional distress. This all comes just a week after reports emerged that Sharpe was in talks for a new deal with this podcast worth roughly $100 million. It's also been revealed that Sharpe was willing to settle this for $10 million when this was brought to his attention back in February. Sharpe's legal team and Busby have been at this since February, but when the settlement and the mediation failed, it became a battle in the court of public opinion. David Sampson actually did a good job breaking this down about the $10 million number on Dan Le Batard's show.
If he's being sued for $50 million, stay with me here, Dan, and the lawyer says, Shannon, there's a 10% chance of this happening, of the victory against you, of you losing. 10% of 50 million is $5 million. That means the value of the lawsuit is $5 million. But the legal fees are going to be $8 million, no matter what. If you have no liability or if you're found liable for 50 million, you're going to pay me $8 million. That's a total of $13 million. That's when you go to the other side and you say, I'll give you 10. That doesn't mean I did it. Doesn't mean I didn't do it. It's called a nuisance settlement amount, and it's discovered through a simple math equation based on probability.
See, this is how you learn stuff. This is how you learn stuff, because I had no idea how they come up with these numbers and calculating stuff. Because this is civil, man. It's all about, we in money court, dog. This is about money. As soon as you sitting over there having, that's like right now, man. I'm saying, look. Let's say me and my girl, right? We down. We doing everything. And all of a sudden she gonna hit me with this aura. She can't hit me with no aura. Girl, this is the second time I done came all the way from the Philippines. I done stayed with you. I sleep here. That's my bed. I bought the bed. So, hello? I don't understand how these people get. First of all, Shannon, you wrong. This girl's 19 and you talking to her, and you almost 50. Okay, I think he's 56 now. Let's cut 6 years off. You in your 50s talking to a 19-year-old. Am I wrong? If I'm tripping? Let's continue.
And that's all it does. So when the 10 million was offered, now people go crazy. Oh my God, how can you be so stupid as to say you didn't do it and then offer 10? That's how.
Shannon Sharpe released his statement on social media saying,
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup.
Sidebar, how do we feel about denying rape allegations in front of your YouTube subscriber plaque in a Denver Broncos helmet? Because I don't think I like it.
Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down.
Sharpe is essentially calling this an extortion attempt on the part of Tony Busby. Sharpe is imploring him to release the entire thing rather than just a 30-second cut. That makes sense. Sharpe doesn't have the full 10-minute tape himself, and it sounds like it's only in possession of the Busby camp, so I would not anticipate that full tape getting released. All I can say in this scenario is I think we get into very strange territory if a 30-second clip from your sex performance could make you look guilty. Sharpe's lawyer, Lanny J. Davis, also released a statement. Davis called the lawsuit a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Sharpe for millions of dollars, and called the claims lies, distortions, and misrepresentations. As for the sex tape in question, Davis called it a secretly recorded video of a consensual sexual encounter that has been heavily edited and taken out of context to portray the event as non-consensual. Busby and the woman also refused to provide Sharpe and Davis with a full and unedited version of the tape, according to the settlement. And as I'm saying, Sharpe and Davis, what are we, going back to the 98 Broncos? All right, sorry, maybe that's a very bad time for a joke. If they go to court, there will need to be a full version of that tape for the judge or whoever to make a educated decision on what the hell actually happened. The statement also provides a list of those texts between Sharpe and the woman, and I'm not going to read them all, okay, because I don't want YouTube to take my channel down. But I would like to note I'm just now learning about terms like baby gravy. It's one of those things I wish I'd never heard, but will continue to have rattling around in my head until I die. Someone please hit me with the Men in Black mind eraser immediately.
Please, me
but
too.
The texts are being used to paint this relationship in a consensual light that essentially they believe wholeheartedly that this is a blackmail attempt. There are also a lot of texts that imply the woman wanted Sharpe to get her pregnant, which apparently did not happen. They were also released to illustrate the violent nature of their sexual relationship.
Oh my God, every time I think this can't get no. So you mean to tell me your little swimmers is not swimming? Is that what you said? The girl was trying to get pregnant, and your little swimmers is not swimming at your age. Shit, I don't even know if mine's swimming. I don't even give a fuck if mine's swimming or not. I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot. Shannon, hello? Shannon, you had first dibs on the man that was telling you, Cat Williams was telling you, all lies will be exposed. And you sitting over here, focus on a 19-year-old. Even Monique came on and tried to help you. Shout out to Monique, man. Shout out to Monique. Monique is helping other people, even though her ship is going down. And Monique, I wish you get in touch with me, girl. Me and you can write our own ticket. I swear to God, me and you, we can write our own ticket. Cause Shannon is gone. He gone too. Ain't nobody gonna trust him after this. You look at my record. I'm drunk, y'all. I don't give a fuck. Hey, you can look at my record. My record cleaner than the gangster lean, baby. Yeah, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm trying to help people. I'm trying to help the world. So I need to reach out to a celebrity, man.
Or dominant/subservient relationship. So I fully understand why these texts were released. Sharpe's camp is essentially launching their nukes in response to the claims made in the lawsuit.
Going on the offensive to defend himself, I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out the press release on X yesterday,
this nigga going
they mentioned
down,
her
y'all.
name and they revealed some of those explicit text messages. That was uncomfortable.
He is going down,
and I don't know if that's a strategy that would work.
And while I roasted Stephen A. week ago,
Busby's like, I couldn't get Jay-Z. He got too much money. He got too much smarts. Yeah, but I'm gonna get that Shannon guy. That Shannon is a dude. Club Shay dog, you are toast. You are past toast, man. I don't even know how they. You so toast, I can't even explain it, man. How in the hell you get caught up with a 19-year-old, cuz? At your age, you play football. You cannot. Because when you was in high school, you didn't go to your prom. You didn't have a good high school ball or homecoming dance and all that type of stuff. You trying to relive that stuff. You can't do that. You cannot do that, Shannon. I can look at you and tell that you was not homecoming, prom, and all that type of stuff. You probably was the baddest dude on the football team, but you ain't get the women. Now you're trying to relive that at a 19-year-old. Monique tried to explain it to you. You ain't even want to hear from him. From her. I'm drunk, y'all. Excuse me. But you need to come talk to me and Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike and my I had a cousin that played 13 years in the NFL, so you can hear from his perspective. And he almost got caught up in some bull, and I had to sit down and say, "Cuz, we don't know each other like that. We ain't, I'm just letting you know, Negro, you better straighten your shit up." That's all I was saying. Look, as a black man, that's all I gotta say. You should know better. Now straighten your shit up. I don't know how you need to straighten it up. Sometimes you gotta tell a person like that, look, man, you know good, man. I'm saying, man, when I get back home, I'm gonna tell somebody the same thing. I'm gonna say, dude, I don't know what to say to you, man, but you need to straighten your shit up. You better than this. You a lot better than this. Straighten your shit up. I don't know what you need to do to make that happen, but I wanted you to hear these words from me, because you think you better than me. In fact, I know you better than me. But you need to straighten your stuff up.
Go for his LeBron and Bronny bullshit on ESPN. I actually think this is where Stephen A. is at his best. I think he conveyed how he was torn on the situation, something I, as a longtime Shannon Sharpe supporter, also feel. And I encourage you to...
Hold up, y'all. I got to hear this. I need to hear this because I don't like this dude. And it ain't no black thing or white thing. I don't like the fact that he stick his nose into stuff. Stay with the sports, cuz, not the lawsuits.
Know if that's a strategy that would work.
And while I roasted Stephen A. week ago for his LeBron and Bronny bullshit on ESPN, I actually think this is where Stephen A. is at his best. I think he conveyed how he was torn on the situation, something I, as a longtime Shannon Sharpe supporter, also feel. And I encourage you to listen to Stephen A.'s full 20-minute discussion.
But I spoke to him, and he emphatically proclaims his innocence. According to Mr. Busby, his client emphatically proclaims his guilt. So where does that leave us? I'd love to tell you that I know the answer to that question, but I don't. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false. But it doesn't seem like that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth.
I think we're all mature enough to understand that taking either side in a lawsuit before all of the facts emerge is a fool's errand. And I will not be doing that. I refuse to incriminate Shannon Sharpe, and I refuse to dismiss the claims made against him. I've listened to the clips, and without full context, I can't decipher if Shannon is making serious threats or if these conversations were part of their weird sexual dynamic. My only true conclusion is this is about to get worse for both Shannon Sharpe and the accuser. As always, it's a complete wait-and-see situation. The Deshaun Watson lawsuit was, at least in the public eye, seen as a cynical cash grab, and of course those claims then turned out to be very well corroborated by almost 24 women. I'd also be remiss not to mention the Jay-Z lawsuit, which I brought up earlier, but that lawsuit was dismissed and Tony Busby got hit with an extortion suit in response. That's why it's key to let this play out. Busby's reputation, not great. That doesn't help the alleged victim or any victims moving forward, but also having audio clips telling a woman you would choke her, that's bad, regardless of the context.
I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there.
The more that comes out from Sharpe's side, the worse this will look for the defendant. The more that comes out from the defendant's side, the worse this is going to look for Shannon Sharpe. What I do know is Sharpe's reputation, even if he is cleared, let's say he is fully cleared, his reputation will never be the same after this. You've got other famous people calling him out for dating young women, questioning his entire sex life. You've got Sharpe at the very least demonstrating terrible judgment. All I hope is that we get a full and accurate picture painted for us, and that
Terrible
clarity
judgment.
is provided. But that almost never
Terrible
happens.
judgment.
I hate that this is where we are as a society. You can objectively look at all of this and arrive at two very different conclusions, and that is unfortunate. Will and I will be live streaming the NFL draft, the first round, Thursday night, so indigestion. Come back to this YouTube channel tomorrow for actual football and sports talk during the draft.
That's crazy, man. What was you thinking about, Shannon? A 19-year-old? You in your 50s. You in your 50s. And I don't know the numbers. Let's say the numbers is this. You 50 years old, you dating somebody 25. That's half your age. Shame on you, boy. Shame on you, kid. Shame on you, dummy. What the fuck is wrong with you? 25-year-old. I'm ready to turn 60. What it look like if I say, hey y'all, this is my wife or my fiance, I'm about to get married. She 26 and I'm 50. That's embarrassing by itself. That's embarrassing, y'all. God dang it, Shannon. Shit. Oh my God. I don't know what to say, man. Look here. Y'all let me know if y'all into. Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate everybody. I done did another hour. Shannon, you brought us Cat Williams, man. That's it. You could have any chick you want all over the world. Hey, how you doing? I'm Shannon. I brought Cat Williams in. Oh, you did? Bikinis come off big time. What is wrong with you? I want to know more about this, man. This is ridiculous. This is weirder than the Diddy case. This is weirder than the Diddy case. You sitting there and then you had a nerve to have Monique tell you, Shannon, you need to leave these 19. I can't help it. I can't help it. That means you thinking with the wrong daggone head. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.